Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Growing Up. This is a 2022 one-season series. I think it's got 10, yeah, 10 episodes. 10 episodes. I only watched the first one, because that's a lot. It's a lot. I got a lot of stuff to watch. I'm over 2,000 episodes in here, so yeah, I can't watch every single second, but at least one episode, especially when it's a series. Each of these episodes, by the way, are only about 24 or 25 minutes long, 27. Just there. It's a docu series actually created by Brie Larson and a few production companies here and there, uh, which I can't see off the top of my head, but she is the writer and creator for this series. And what's Brie Larson doing here with this? Well, she's created somewhat of a shared therapy, in a sense, docuseries for a number of now adults, but adults telling their stories of growing up in different types of situations. Everybody goes through some crazy stuff as a kid. Everybody is unsure of ourselves. We struggle. We have distorted views of ourselves and others, and where we are, our family, our friends, what's expected of us. And there are some situations that are obviously clearly defined by external forces, such as, hey, say racism, or how people treat the disabled, or just the community in general. A lot of these people, at least the first one, Vanessa, right here, she is. I hope it's still Vanessa. Again, brain not work good. She tells her story of having immigrated with her family from a young age to America from Ghana, and being from Africa, and just sort of their family starting all over. We get to see a girl who's suddenly, thrust into the American world, the American, just, what America's like. Yeah. So America can be a bit overwhelming when it's a culture shift. It's a humongous culture shift for a little girl from Ghana, and as she's growing up, she discovers that no matter what she may think of herself or what her parents think of her, the world isn't so forgiving. At least America isn't so forgiving when it comes to her skin color. And this is not necessarily saying racism. It's colorism. It's not people are like, I hate people of different races. Well, no, some people just are like, oh, well, one of the most heartbreaking sequences in this, and this is a mixture of a documentary kind of interview with each of these kids, intermixed with recreations with younger actors portraying them. It's artfully done. It's just shot in some very unique ways. That reflect her struggle, but what's going on. But there's one sequence, and I feel like I've seen some of these younger actors before, like they've shown up in a Marvel thing as well. I don't know, but at least the girls who play her as a teenager or a junior high kid. She she's talking with a boy she kind of has a crush on, and she's like, she's fishing for who do you have a crush on, and he said, oh, I like her. And she's a little disappointed, but he's like, what do you like about her, and what do you find? He finds her pretty, and she's like, what do you find pretty? He's like, well, you'd be really pretty if you were just a few shades lighter. And this is another black kid, assuming from the sequence that they showed. uh, and so, yeah, she has this, and it's not necessarily that the kid was intentionally being cruel or mean or had an intention to demean her in any way, but kids have enough. Regardless of what your race is, kids have enough going on in their heads, their hormones, their bodies, just everything, just blah, going crazy, for them to go, oh, here's one more thing that I have to feel self-conscious about. And this is all a lot about self-esteem. This is a lot about understanding purpose, and finding just joy in life, and seeing yourself as who you really are, not how others perceive you to be or how you think you are expected to be. This is pretty much the core of Vanessa's story, where she didn't see herself as beautiful. The color of her skin, the darkness of her skin, took her down some fairly dark roads. Pardon the expression. Took her down some paths that I would not envy for any kid. It is heartbreaking, because she didn't see. She's a beautiful woman. Look at this. She's a beautiful woman, and again, I do not doubt that she was a beautiful teenager. I think they show pictures here and there, but the idea is that she didn't see it, and she made a lot of changes in order to change how she appeared to others. She pretended to be completely fine. We all know that mechanism. That we, even as adults, we see some adults, even those in power, who overcompensate for how little they feel inside. And so this is a great jumping off point for understanding what a lot of this is going to be. It's not kids complaining like, oh, I didn't get a fair shake, I don't feel nice, why isn't people more nice to me? No. And yes, this is very much the anti, I hate using these terms. This is definitely the opposite of the anti-woke, the anti-DEI people. They would hate this show because it shows people seeking equality, seeking decency, seeking empathy, seeking kindness, and not just from others, but within themselves. So we all got something where we feel maybe lesser than because of something we have no control over. But the world says, well, you're not good enough. And sometimes we tend to believe it. So in this, we get to explore that with a number of different kids in over 10 episodes. The second episode actually features 2 young women, and it's from what I understand, it's about them dealing with certain things in their community, just sort of giving back to their community and the struggles that go along with that. I don't know. You'll have to watch it. But yes, you're going to find there's a number of kids in this. Kids, they're adults, but everybody, I don't know. They're adults, but as kids, certain struggles that I think a lot of kids today would find familiar. And a lot of us as adults who've not been kids for a very long time might find familiar situations in our young lives where, honestly, if we'd been told these things, we might have looked at ourselves differently. We might have not pushed against or just pushed down the things that we hated about ourselves. I didn't, I'm going to say this, I didn't really have this kind of situation until I'm 30, but it's vitiligo. It's light and it's dark. I don't tan very well, but the places where I can still have, or I have melanin, it's oh, boo-hoo, poor white guy. But it's still the idea, yeah. By the way, I am fully aware that I am not the exact perfect person, just like yesterday, to explain the black experience for anybody. So I'm not making any insinuations that I can. But I can identify with Vanessa, and I am feeling a number of these kids who find that at some points in their lives they may not have been good enough. They may not have been perfect. And realizing that it's okay to not be perfect. When I was around 30, when this started happening, I was just like, oh, well, this is going to be horrible. It's only going to get worse. Great. Now I don't even think about it. I only really noticed it once I put my hands up like this as I'm talking just a moment ago. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a thing. So I had that happen when I was 12. And I know kids deal with it. I know a lot of kids deal with it. And we find kids here in this that had struggled with homelessness. Yes, there is a trans young woman in this. And there are just a disabled young woman. I don't even know if that's even the proper term. But again, these are full, absolute, fantastic human beings that are coming to terms with who they are and talk about coming to terms with who they are. And some of them, I believe, probably still struggle to a certain degree, but their stories are told. And I imagine by telling these stories, it helps not only them, but hopefully people who are going through the same exact thing they are. So, again, I'm not assuming there's any teenagers or kids ever watching anything I make, but if you're an adult and you know a kid, you have a kid who you think might be struggling, I don't know if it's something that you can just go, hey, you should check this out. They got a kid that's just like you, and she's figured it out. Maybe not, but might be ways to point them in this direction to know that being perfect as a teenager is not be all end all. Being the most beautiful or being the most accepted is not the be all end all. And so it's something that I think a lot of kids need to, some adults too, need to understand. Because everybody's closing themselves off from everybody else as they deal with their crap. And not enough people reach out and go, yeah, I'm doing that too. And so it's always good to find your community that you can talk with this. And this is why you find kids who might struggle with, say, LGBTQ issues, their lives being who they are around family, but they can find friends that they can connect with. And that's incredibly important to not just their state of mind, but to their very survival in a world, in a country right now that is pretty much against them as much as it can be, and is seeking to do worse in many ways, unfortunately. So yeah, I recommend this. Yeah, so I recommend this, especially whether you're a kid. And I'm sorry if I'm calling you a kid when you're 16. You're not a little kid anymore. But whether you're young, whether you're older, I think this can give you an insight as to the struggles that young people are going through now, as an adult yourself, or again, I know this is a bad word these days, but empathy. Understanding what other people are going through and feeling, allowing yourself to feel for what others are going through. That's not the exact definition, but it's in the ballpark. So I say definitely check it out. It's 10 episodes. They're all fairly short. So yeah, give it a chance. You might open yourself up to a number of different ideas and struggles, stuff you may not have thought about. I don't think about this. Being who I am, I don't think about, I got to straighten my hair in order to be more acceptable. I need to lighten my skin through creams or whatever in order to fit in, to be accepted, to be loved. I never have had to deal with that. But there's a lot who have. A lot of people like Vanessa. So I think it's worthwhile gaining a little bit more empathy in the world. Let's pick tomorrow's episode. 128. Oh, wow. We got a movie finally. Oh my gosh, after so long, we've been doing documentary after documentary or reality thing, this and that, and Dancing with the Stars and whatever else. We got a movie, and it's a sequel to another movie that I think came over from Fox. It's not necessarily a core Disney film, but it has a number of faces you'll recognize in it. This is Oz, the Great and Powerful. Or maybe it's not the sequel. Maybe it's the first one. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I think this is like a James Franco and Mila Kunis and God knows who else that are in this. But Oz the Great and Powerful is what we're watching next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.